Hi everyone, my name is Jaleh, and today I'm going to be talking about Teach for America. I am a multimedia artist. I make videos about my career experiences and my art. So follow along and subscribe if you would like to watch more. So I am going to talk about my experience today with Teach for America, otherwise known as TFA. I served with TFA in 2012. I was placed in the Mississippi Corps. And so I'm going to talk about the process of the application, what it was like during Institute, which is like orientation, and then my experience with teaching for 2 years. So I first found out about TFA because if you watch my previous video, you will know that I served as an AmeriCorps member with City Year for 2 years. I had some friends of mine who I had served with City Year, served with at City Year, and they had joined TFA. They actually did City Year with the intention of helping their application for TFA. So a lot of people do that. They'll do a different service program in hopes of getting into TFA so that they can, teach and get their teaching credentials. So I found out about it again through my friends, and they were like, hey, you should do it. We need more teachers in this area. And they were both in Arkansas. And so I was like, okay, cool. Let me think about it. I had gone to grad school and I had worked a little bit after grad school, but I didn't have anything lined up for the incoming year. And so I submitted my application. And then once you submit your initial application, you do a phone call. And so my friends helped me prep what I was going to talk about during that phone call and then also the in-person interview. So the way TFA does it is you submit your application, and sometimes you're automatically, you don't have to do certain steps. Like if they're like, yes, we want this person is perfect, then they kind of fast forward you through the process. And so sometimes you may just end up doing the final step of just doing the in-person interview. But because I applied in one of the later selection months, I had to go through the whole process. So I had my phone interview, and my friend advised that I focus a lot on data and, how I improved situations. So if I was giving some examples of when I, was doing reading tutoring when I was a City Year AmeriCorps member, I would say, okay, well, this student started off at this level, and then by the end of the year, I was able to increase their reading score by this amount. And so they were really focused on numbers. And I didn't realize at the time, but the whole TFA organization is really focused on numbers. And so that is one tip if you are applying for a TFA. Focus on your data, and if you planned an event, how many people came to the event compared to the first year that you planned it, how much money you raised, how many people opened the email, whatever it is, whatever experience you have. If you don't have teaching experience, still talk about data and how you improved and how you grew, okay? Whatever project you're working on. So I did that. Great. It went well. And so then I did the in-person interview. And so how it worked back then, I'm not sure how it is now. They did kind of a group setting. So you do group projects once you get there. So you're working with the other people that are in the interview session as well. And you're given a project. I can't even remember now. Maybe it was a lesson, and you're going to decide together on how you're going to present it. And you have to make sure that you are stepping in enough. You're saying something, but you're not like dominating the conversation. There's a lot of research about like how to excel at group interviews. So I would look into that. So I did that part. And then the second part of that is you do a lesson. You have to teach a lesson. And so my friend said, teach something simple, elementary level, second grade. So I think I did something with grammar, maybe synonyms or antonyms, and it's only like a 5-minute session. So I did something very simple. I think what I saw other people struggling with was really hard concepts, how to teach that in a short amount of time, because if you just graduated from college, you're taking all these high level courses. And so you're like, yeah, I want to share whatever it is, biochem or physics or something. But like a lot of the times, if you don't have teaching experience, usually when you're applying for Teach for America, you don't have any teaching experience. Like maybe you were a student teacher for a year or something, but most people don't have any experience. And if you're teaching these, complex subjects, you may not have the skills or training to do that. So I would say if you're going to do that sample teaching lesson, do something really simple in elementary age. So that went really well. And then they take you into individual one-on-one interviews. And so my individual interview, really, it wasn't an interview. The woman who was interviewing me was just like, hey, you're going to be such a great core member. Like, we're so excited to have you on the team. And, so it was really odd. It wasn't like, they were asking me questions about my resume or, why I want to do this or anything like that. It was just very much like, you're in, you got this, like, we're hiring you. And I was like, cool. So that was really awesome. So the next step is you get to choose your placement. So you don't really get to choose. You get to suggest where you want to be placed. And so they give you an option. I think you can make your top 3 choices based on whatever region in the country you want to be placed in. And maybe you get to fill out like 10 choices for the region. So what I was told at the time, once I got in, and once I was already placed, they said, if you put certain regions in your top 3 choices, or even in your top 10 choices, you're going to get placed there. So Mississippi was one of them. I chose the Mississippi Delta region. And because I put that in like my top 10, then I was automatically placed there because they needed 500 core members to go to that region. So, yeah, that's just one drawback. Just know that, if you're like, okay, I really, really do not want to go to this place, do not put it on your list. Okay, just be warned. So if you're like, I only want to serve in Seattle, you put Seattle and you don't put Nevada, you don't put any of the other places. You just put places you're willing to move because you will get placed in one of those regions that you did not want to move in. Okay, so. Another thing that happened right away was they were like, okay, you need to take the praxis. You need to take this test and you need to get a certain number of score so that you can be certified and get your teaching license through the state. So mine was for the state of Mississippi. So I start studying. I start, studying for the praxis right away. I take the praxis test, the basic one, and I pass. And so once you pass that test, then you start interviewing for jobs. And you are not employed by Teach for America. You're employed by the school district. So you have to interview for the school district just like any other teacher would interview. Now, they know that you're interviewing as an incoming new Teach for America teacher, but you still need to interview. So some people go through multiple interviews. I only went through one with the school district that selected me. And so the way it works is Teach for America kind of already works with the school district, and they say, we're going to get you, maybe they ask how many teachers do you need? They say, okay, we need 50 teachers to fill positions with our school district. And they're like, okay, we're going to select these 50 people with this, certification to fill this. So I was an English teacher. So I filled their need for that school district for the English teacher for that grade level. So I was employed by the school district, not Teach for America. So something they don't tell you is that because you're not employed by Teach for America, you do not get a paycheck until you start working. So they have a thing called Institute. It's 5 weeks of training. So you start Institute in June and you don't start teaching until the school year starts. So usually in August. So that means you're not getting paid from June to August. Now, Teach for America does allow you to have, they'll give you a low interest or a no interest loan, or they will award funding for those people who need it. But if you applied for the later deadline, like I did, you are not eligible for that funding because it's already been given out. So I was eligible for a no interest loan that I had to pay back within the 2 years of me in the program. Okay, so Institute. You get to Institute and you are placed with a group of other new teachers. Now in Mississippi, the way they did it, other people from other states came. So we had Alabama Corps with us. We had the Memphis Corps, I think Nashville too. And we had Louisiana with us as well. And so we all came together. There was 500-600 of us at the Mississippi Institute, the Delta Institute, and we get 5 weeks of training. So you're placed at a local school and you go there and you're usually teaching summer school. So I was placed at a school that was about an hour away. So I had to wake up at 5 a.m. to catch the bus to drive to this school an hour away from where we were staying for this institute, this 5 week of training. And so that was a lot, being on the bus, 2 hours a day, and you're half asleep. You have to quickly grab your bagged breakfast, and you go and you do your training and you teach. So I taught a total of 3 times during my 5 week of training, because during that time you're also taking classes with Teacher America professionals. You're also, you're lesson planning, you're learning how to lesson plan. So it's kind of like you have a personal coach who's helping you learn these different aspects of what it means to be a teacher in a public school or a charter school, because some people are placed in charter schools. And so I had a really small class size. There was only 3 students that were at the grade level that I was learning to be a teacher at. And so it was really like, it was not a good, I don't think it was a good enough training for what a real experience of teaching in a classroom is. So you only get 5 weeks, and then they're like, okay, they literally tell you, fake it until you make it. That's like one of the models. They're like, fake it until you make it. You got this. You can do this. You're going to be an amazing teacher, right? You like literally, most people have like no experience with teaching. They just graduated from college. It's like, it's crazy. So after Institute, during this time, you're also taking your second praxis for your certification. So I was certified in English, high school English. So I had to take an additional test. And you have to pay for all this yourself. They don't help you. Again, they don't help you pay. You're not getting a paycheck during this 5 weeks. Okay. You have to pay for your travel. You have to pay for your food. Usually you have to pay for everything, right? Unless you want to eat cafeteria food. So they do give you a place to stay. You're staying in dorms. It was hot. It was muggy. It was crazy, right? So just know that going in, like that's what the kind of life is. Kind of like summer camp. So you take your praxis. You take your second praxis to get your certification. If you don't pass your praxis and you've already been offered a job, you cannot accept that job. Your job is on the line because you need to get that certification. So I had some people that were with me that did not pass their second praxis and therefore were not able to become a teacher, a licensed teacher. Now in Mississippi, you only need a bachelor's degree to become a teacher. I had some friends teach in Louisiana, and they were able to get their master's degree while they were in the program because, different states have different standards of who can be a teacher. So also the second thing that I was focusing on while I was in Institute, I was offered the job at the school district. I needed to find a place to live in that city, which was different from where I was at for Institutes, at the training. So I had to drive back and forth to this other city, like 2 hours away, to find a place to live. Again, I had to pay for my own deposit, my own rent, everything, right? I didn't have a paycheck coming in. So you have to make sure you're saving in advance or have support from your family. I didn't have support from my family, so it was a struggle. So I found a place to live. I didn't have much stuff. I was sleeping on an air mattress for like a month. That's another thing. You don't get paid right away. You may start working that first month, but you don't get paid until probably like a month after you start working. So you need to think about this. Keep this in mind. And once you are placed at your school, you have a manager from Teach for America who contacts you supposedly on a regular basis. Mine did not contact me very often, but they contact you. They come observe your classroom. They give you tips. And then every semester or quarter, Teacher America asks you to submit data about your students, how they're doing, how they improve, what their test scores are, all of that. And every Saturday, they have a professional Saturday. They call it ProSat. And you go to ProSat and you, gain skills around your subject area, as well as just general things. They also do some like diversity and equity inclusion training that was trash, but that's another story. So they do give you like some professional skills and things like that. I will say that one benefit of being a Teacher America is the alumni network. Because Teacher America has been around for like 20 years now, there are a lot of alumni, and they'll usually connect you with those people. But if they taught in your region, or if they're currently, now they're administrators or teachers in your region. So the alumni base is really amazing. That is definitely one benefit. So I'm not going to go too much into, my teaching experience, but I will just say overall that I didn't feel supported from Teacher America. Again, you're not employed by them, so they have no obligation really to support you. You're kind of on your own unless you ask for support. I did not have regular meetings with my manager the 2 years that I was there. And yeah, it's just, that's just what that's just what it is. That was my experience. Um, and I think that I would not recommend the program to anyone. I mean, unless you want to become a teacher and you do not want to get your master's degree right away. So I think it's a great program. If you have a passion for education, you get your certification with your state that can be transferred to another state for up to 5 years. So it's great if you know you want to be a teacher. But I have found that usually they don't hire those people who want to be teachers. They want people who, come from different industries to then come and learn. So yeah, if you have any questions about Teacher America or want to, hear more about my experience or any particular aspect, please leave questions in the comments. Message me, let me know. All right. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.